Like, why I think it's so important for male, like to put out the alpha male message is I'm single and grew up in a very alpha male environment. And that's what I'm looking for. And there are this many alpha males out there. And I'm like, this is terrible. So that was my motivation, is so I can get a date that I, am interested in. And I was like, so we can help promote the alpha message out there. Cause I do think, like, going deeper than that, like our society as a whole, you're seeing the men get weaker. And I think that's when all kinds of crazy shit happens. And I think that we need to get back to that, like, kind of correct course and like celebrate men being men doing manly things. And it's okay for women to do women things. And it's, it's not putting us down to say that we want to be mothers and, maybe not go after a career, and you don't have to be some boss. Am I allowed to swear on this? Some boss bitch, like
we're in far enough now that YouTube allows us to swear as much as we do.
Oh, beautiful.
Welcome to the night zone. Hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness tips to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the way.
My thesis was on bodybuilding,
Oh, wow.
so I didn't take a 24-hour class. And like I said, I've been lifting weights for 61 years. My parents bought me a 110-pound weight set. Still have it.
The old thin dumbbell or bar with like with the soft.
Metal weights, not
Without no grip or anything on it. Was it the smooth thin ones? Yeah. The old Dick's. Well, back then it wasn't Dick's Sporting Goods, but it was the Sporting Goods stores.
Yeah.
Concrete, weren't they?
Seriously.
Yeah. No, but those were another one. That was the concrete with the plastic
Plastic.
trim. Yeah, or the plastic cover.
No, these were metal because they
just-
wrecked my parents.
Let's just all date ourselves.
Can you hear?
All right, cool.
I still coach football.
Oh, do you really? Where at?
North Royalton.
Oh, right on. High school, junior high?
I just do junior high.
Junior high. That's where it's at.
Well,
High school's insane now.
Oh, I can't even.
I
Like,
want a life.
Yeah.
And Michelle went through many football seasons where I said, don't include me in anything till it's over. And that's compliments of our city. But
Yeah, that's
I've been coaching 50 years now, football. So
awesome.
got to keep a great game alive.
Yeah, dude. I
As
mean,
I see from
Love
your
that.
I still
TV.
watch the ridiculous Cleveland Browns every year. I
Yeah.
watch them in that debacle.
What city is that high school in?
It should be a high school team. Jesus, it's embarrassing.
Well, luckily, I think I was 13 years old the last time the Cleveland Browns won a national championship.
68.
wait, we did actually win a championship?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that was ever possible.
Well, because it was long before they called it the Super Bowl. Well, actually, I think it was the year before they called it the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Oh, really?
It was the NFL championship.
Yeah, it was the NFL championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We can't have this again. We better change the entire game. We can't have no success stories out of Cleveland ever.
All right, let's get this started. Are you ready over there, David?
Fuck yeah.
Fucker. All right. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night podcast. Appreciate you joining us tonight. We've got an awesome couple of guests joining us here local in Ohio, hosts of the Alpha Male podcast, professional bodybuilder trainers, and competitors as well. So I wanted to welcome you both to the show. What's going
Thanks,
on, guys?
guys.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're excited.
And Greg, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I've been on the planet for a very long time. Have loved the sport of bodybuilding for many years. Have competed both as an amateur and a master's professional. Retired school teacher. I taught for 35 years. Hard to believe. I think I'm retired now almost 13 years. And I still coach football, as we were talking about. But as I always jokingly tell my clients, you're learning from all the mistakes I made, whether it was nutrition, weight training, cardio, whatever it may be. But it's been a great journey because we're always learning.
Yeah, and I mean, here you are now at 72 years old. 72 years old. You look great. I mean, I hope I look as good as you in 30 years. Like,
I'm faking it well.
and then Heather, tell us a little about yourself.
I guess I grew up in the bodybuilding world. I mean, I knew how to do a double bicep when I was 6. There's pictures of it. And I just, growing up around all of that really like ignited the passion. And like I always say, like joke that bodybuilding's in my blood, because I do think you have to be a little crazy to do the sport. There's got to be a little something off for us to willingly put ourselves through hell for 12 weeks and then get on a stage almost naked to get judged in public. But I love it, and I don't think that there's a better sport in the world. So just growing up in that environment, and I mean, I grew up all around professional bodybuilders, professional powerlifters, and just then turned it in. I started to compete in bikini myself, and then just me and him, we train people, competitors or general population, and just try to help everybody get better,
Awesome.
With their health, performance, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that misconception in the fitness community. Like, you don't have to do it to compete. You could just do it because you want to live a better life.
Absolutely. And you don't have to, like, it's okay to look like kind of have the body like a competitor and still be able to live life. You just don't have to push it to, like, I always say it's like the last 4 weeks is where it gets kind of extreme, and you can live a healthy life. I mean, Dad, you walk around with like, what is your body fat percentage year round? I mean, it's not very high, know, and I've seen him eat ice cream. He's set records at ice cream places. I've been there, like where they weigh it, by the pound, and they're like, oh, this is for a family. And he's like, no, this is mine, and they're like, oh, we've never seen somebody. And then,
Gotta reward yourself.
That's right.
not only did he break it, he then went back a couple of days and broke his own record. So,
Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
he enjoys life and enjoys eating. And, just growing up around that, I felt like I've been fortunate enough to learn the right way to do things. And it really comes down, everybody wants to know, like, what's the magic secret or what's the magic pill? And it's the most boringest answer ever. It's diet and consistency with working out. Like,
Yeah, it's hard work.
yeah, that's it. That's all it is. It's just consistency and following an 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And the best thing I ever heard, and I'm stealing this from Stan, do you know the only diet and workout that'll work?
What's that?
The one you'll do.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there, myself included, have fallen off the diet multiple times. It's hard. I give so much respect to that community, especially when it comes to that last 12 to 14 weeks.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Because you see everybody in the off season, especially wintertime, the gym's packed. Everybody's in there and like they're eating whatever they want. They're enjoying ice cream. They're going crazy because it's
They're bulking
their
up.
bulk
Yeah.
season, right? And they can just ingest as many calories as they want. But then, my buddy Brandon, he actually competes next week down in
nice. Well,
Columbus.
good luck,
For the
Brandon.
Ohio.
Yeah. And, he plays volleyball with us too. And the last couple of weeks have been a little bit tough. This last Wednesday, he was happy though. He's like, today was carb day. I got a little carbs in me. But like this next week, he's like, I'm not going to even bother because I'm at that point where I can get hurt really easily right now. I'm like, I'm brittle is the way he said it, you know? And, but you see him, it's not even the hard part, like a chicken and rice. Like I've done that. It's the chicken and rice 8 times a day. Starting from the minute you wake up and then you're scheduled and staying on schedule, packing your lunches, taking it with you. Like that's incredible discipline.
You have to like zone in and just be on autopilot.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say, I'm glad they've changed it to chicken and grass-fed beef. In the old days, it used to be a can of tuna fish, white rice, and mustard if it was carb loading day, and green beans.
You know what's funny is I can smell it because that's like a childhood memory of mine. That like that's what we eat all the time.
David has just left the chat.
Oh yeah, David and mustard go together. Like,
man.
Speaking of, what's up, David and Evan? How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, great.
Oh, I was doing great till I heard the mustard.
Well, we're glad you guys joined us, and I'm sure we'll get into a lot of interesting conversations. I think we can kind of start actually with David brought you to my attention probably about a month ago,
Something like that.
month and a half ago, and
Oh,
he's
good
like,
job, David.
Yeah, he saw the podcast and he's like, hey, we should have these guys on. It's a father-daughter. They're local, it looks like. And then I quickly realized we actually have a lot of people in common as far as on social media and stuff, probably because, we've had Nick and Dahan and a couple of guys on that we talked about. So once those guys are on, their following starts to follow us, and then it just kind of gathers around. So what led to you guys saying, hey, let's start a podcast?
It was me. I'm the crazy brains behind it. To be honest, what really motivated me is when he lost his voice, I was like, okay, how can I like do something to where now he has a voice? So how can we amplify something, even whether it's artificial or whatever? But so that I was like, okay, we got to do this. And then I was a little wary, like I didn't know how it was going to come across. And then I was like, there's so much AI tools. There's got to be some voice change or something I could use. I'm like, there's got to be something worst case scenario.
Right.
And it turned out to be fine. We used, starting out, we used a really janky mic, and it turned out to be fine. And I was like, okay, I came to him. I'm like, do you want to do this? And it didn't actually take you as much convincing as I thought it was going to take you. Because out of the two of us, if you believe in astrology, he's a Taurus and I'm a Leo, which you can tell personality-wise are totally opposite, where I come up with the crazy ideas and he's like, he'll question them a little bit, but you were pretty much all for it. And so I ran with it. As soon as I got the okay, I was like, perfect, I'm ordering this, before he could say no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Cancel it.
And I guess with teaching my whole life, I'm used to talking to people and coaching, so it made it a little bit easier, but it was her idea and her push.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I think that too is, if people joke about podcast equipment being more expensive, we talked about it earlier, and like we live in a day and age where if you have the ability to do it and you want to do it, like if somebody listens, great. If not, it's just it's probably a great father and daughter thing that you guys get to do now, and you guys seem really close, so it's probably fun. You get to hang out for an hour and just talk about random stuff throughout the night.
oh yeah, I love it. And I think too, with us training people, I think we were also thinking like, okay, we talk so much to people about like, different diet tips or strategies for lifting and whatnot. It's like this way we can reach so many more people just by talking about it. So that also was, besides wanting to amplify his voice, was another like motivation to do it. And I think it's just such a cool thing to get into because if you are really passionate, like you said, a lot of people are jumping on the podcast train. But I think what happens is people lose steam because it's hard work. It's kind of like being an influencer. Everybody's like, oh, I want to be an influencer, but they don't realize how much work it takes to do that. You're posting constantly. Your whole life is around posting. And with podcasting, you have to show up. You have to know your stuff. You have to consistently show up because we all know your audience will, leave you high and dry. They're very fair weather people. If you're not posting consistently, they're like, peace out, I'm going to find somebody that does. And so it's just showing up even when you don't want to and putting in the work when you have no audience. And a lot of people that's very hard for people to do the work with no paycheck.
Yeah.
So I do think that that's kind of like a entrance barrier. Like at least it kicks people out, I feel like, after 6 months. You see people will start it and then they kind of fall off.
Yeah, we made jokes along the way because we had 50th was last month?
Yeah.
Last month.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good job. Congrats.
Yeah,
That's
you.
exciting.
So, but it was like episode 10. It was like, oh, we're in the top 1%.
Right.
Like nobody makes it past 10 episodes. Then we got to like 20, and then it was like like such a small percentage. And I was
That's
like,
so
well,
crazy.
it is, but you're right. It's hard work. And do you guys have guests on your guys' show? I've only seen ones with just you for the most part.
We've started to. We've had 2 guests. So
Yeah, my
far.
brother was the first one because I was like saying all kinds of prayer. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. We've never done this before. So I'll have, my brother's not going to care if all this messes up and we have to delete it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we made him do it. And then we had your buddy Mike Fursey on.
Okay.
Yeah, he's nurse practitioner where he has a hormonal replacement service practice. that
Oh,
he
really?
does.
Super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Like unreal.
Well, Mike had one Mr. Ohio back in the old days. He owned Club Olympia in Westlake, and we all used to train there, and a lot of the Cleveland Indians did also
Oh, that's awesome.
like that.
Yeah. So when you get into guests, that's what people don't realize. So, I mean, just us sitting around the table. Originally, it was just a bunch of guys, and we're like, oh, guys' night, we'll just sit around and talk about like whatever going on, real world events or what we did that night. Because the big thing was we were going out like once a month. We'd have a guys' night where like 10 to 20 of us would get together and just
that's
go
cool.
do stuff. And then we go to dinner afterwards, and everyone would just, the stories were great. So we are like, oh, this would be fun for a podcast. And that lasted like 4 episodes, and then all of a sudden it was really hard to get people to show up on Sunday because you had to have a topic idea. Like, hey guys, we have to focus on something, and then the stories can come. But and then nobody wanted to prepare for the topics or whatever. So these two stuck around with me.
Good job.
And like the challenge then becomes getting Evan off his laptop.
He's doing good. He's got Google open. He's ready to fact check.
No, the challenge is finding guests. And the second that you like, so the last couple of weeks, like I've been up in Michigan, we went riding and stuff like that. And well, when I was gone for the weekend, we didn't do the podcast. And then I knew I was going riding the next weekend, so I didn't look for guests. And then like before you know it, you're like, shit, we have no guests lined up.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna? Is this gonna like? And you could feel that point where like, this is it. Like if you don't schedule something quick, like you're gonna do a month, and then you're gonna be like, is it really something I want to do anymore?
Yeah.
And I didn't want that
I
to
have a
happen.
question for you. What do you ride?
KTM 250 and a KTM 500 in the sand.
I have a chopper.
Oh,
big
yeah?
dog. Yeah, I've been riding for about 30, 40 years.
So on the road, I got a KTM 990 Super Duke that I ride.
All right.
Yeah, I just got back into road riding a month and a half ago. I'm 2,000 miles back into it.
If
so-
you couldn't tell from the orange shirt, he's a KTM guy.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little bit of. I built a barn just so I could house all my bikes.
Good for you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you need your toys even when you're a grown up.
I agree, right? So like then we came back and I was like, all right, I'm focused. And obviously I have a regular job too that pays the bills because this sure doesn't. This costs money. Like today,
Right.
my Adobe, that's how I knew it's been almost a year. It's like my Adobe subscription came due. And I was like, $900.
Yeah.
I really paid that a year ago. Like, what was I thinking? It's like we got to line up guests, and it was like boom, 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 and then like we had a couple of guests on that referred us, and we had 4 in a row. My wife's like, so are we just not gonna like talk to each other for like the next week because like you have a guest every single night?
We should have her on the podcast. We can talk to her
right?
then.
But that becomes the tough challenge too.
Well, once we get another production person, we will have my wife on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, she's got a job to do.
Yeah, we can't interrupt what she does.
Yeah,
she's too busy pushing buttons.
Now you could have an episode about how she's a producer. Share us your experience as a producer of a
my God.
high volume podcast.
She's been dying to come on too, which is so funny.
Well, see, now all you do is put a third mic. You've got the third input in the ATM, and then just have a camera facing her.
See, that's what we need to do.
And then she could switch to herself every once in a while, and then you could have her fact checking
Yeah.
Greg over here. Like, I don't think that's how it went. You did not
That's-
cook your own meals.
Yeah. She might interject too much. We have to put a mute button on her.
So,
Thank God she's been there the whole way. So
Yeah.
how long you guys been married?
it'll be going on 47 years.
Yeah, it's a long
Congratulations.
time.
Look at you guys, the nuclear family sticking
Right?
it out.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
We're like the odd
Well,
ones.
we
We're the
got
weirdos.
3 kitties. She's the oldest. Then got another daughter. And then our son who lives down in Florida.
That's awesome. Super awesome. So you guys named it the Alpha Male Podcast. How did that? Obviously, it was just your idea.
It was. I actually did I come up with the name? Okay, I can't even remember at this point.
Yeah, you brought a bunch of names, but we explained why.
Oh yeah, because
Wait. Tell me one of the failed names. What's one of the names that didn't make the cut?
I don't know if there was that many that I feel like it was always going to be the alpha male.
Yeah.
Well, when you hear why,
Well, so I don't know exactly which one you want me to like, or the reason why you want me to say, but I'll say what I think we named it as. Well, like why I think it's so important for male, like to put out the alpha male message is I'm single and grew up in a very alpha male environment. And that's what I'm looking for. And there are this many alpha males out there. And I'm like, this is terrible. So that was my motivation is so I can get a date that I, am interested in. And I was like, so we can help promote the alpha message out there. Cause I do think like going deeper than that, like our society as a whole, you're seeing the men get weaker. And I think that's when all kinds of crazy shit happens. And I think that we need to get back to that, like, kind of correct course and, like, celebrate men being men doing manly things. And it's okay for women to do women things. And it's, it's not putting us down to say that we want to be mothers and, maybe not go after a career, and you don't have to be some boss. Am I allowed to swear on this? Some
Fuck yeah.
boss bitch, like
we're in far enough now that YouTube allows us to swear as much as we want.
oh, beautiful, a guy or the ability to lead, or because it just seems like before you had men leading in the traditional relationship with women, and again, it's not that women follow and are your like servants, you know what I mean? But like they kind of lead the relationship. They're there to
where you're both equals, but you both got your different strengths.
yes,
Right.
Where I've noticed, even with coaching football all these years, the boys are a lot softer.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to disrespect them, but they do say the average amount of testosterone in a younger person now is so low compared to what it was in my day.
Mm-hmm.
And my father's level was higher than it was for me. But they say because of environment,
plastics and everything. I mean,
Right.
there's chemicals, diet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just about to ask that. Like, what's your guys' opinion on how do we get here?
well, one of the things I laugh, and this is coming from a doctor friend of ours, with all the females on birth control,
Mm-hmm.
that gets in the water supply. And how much estrogen does not get taken out. And people are putting estrogen in their body, which I love estrogen dearly, on these guys,
Right.
not on us guys.
Yeah, my wife is big on not taking birth control. She's 32. But she's never been on birth control her entire life. And
I was
part
on
of
it for like 3 weeks.
and because she's like, you never hear anything good.
No.
Right? It comes to a lot of things that adjust.
Well, one time I heard something good out of it. And it was negative. The test. Okay, sorry. Go on.
But
Good point.
yeah, I think
The one time.
I think that there's a lot of things that affect it. You mentioned testosterone levels, so we actually had pH Performance. They're I'm trying to think of the best way to describe them, but basically optimizing the body's health and peak performance out of it. And they they deal with men hormones and training and all kinds of different stuff. And they talked about how they can say that if you're a 680 testosterone, so that you're in the normal, but that's because the normal spread is taken off of an average of everybody that's testosterone is tested at over the course of the year. Right?
And they've also moved the goalposts.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's
Yeah.
like, so basically, like if you took 100 men and you said, okay, this is our average.
Oh, I
with
get what
these
you're
100
saying. Yeah,
men.
yeah.
When they did that 20 years ago, well, then they did it every year and it gets less and less and less. So then they take that, they'd say that's the new norm, basically. Like
Yeah.
if the average is now 600 to 800 versus it used to be 700 to 950, well, now you're in the norm. And I think now it's even lower. It's like 450. I think any 350 to 750 or something
You're
like
right.
that.
It's so crazy.
It absolutely is. And
That's the point we're trying to make, how it's kind of gone down and it's become more acceptable. And if you look at a lot of guys, younger kids, they actually have breast tissue.
yeah, a lot.
Where,
Yeah, and you never saw that.
But that
growing
goes
up.
into diet too.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because it's funny when my wife and I always bring Europe. David's been to Europe and Evan, and in Europe, you don't see obesity in children. If you do, it's like a one-off, and it's kind of cute, like always the little chubby kid. Like he was the kid when I was a kid. They called husky. Right? Like
Yes.
I was a husky kid. Like I was a little chubby. I was never gonna have a six-pack as a kid, but I moved around. I was athletic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, especially here in America, I think it's now like 60 or 70% of kids are considered obese.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
And those metrics are obviously, very cut and dry, right? It's like a weight and a height. It's not like it's not taking into consideration
like the BMI, which is bullshit. Yeah.
Well, on my 7th grade football team this year, I have 6 kids over 6 foot, 220.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, tell me like the hormones aren't freaking messed up though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, a couple of them are, well, the one young man who I'll leave nameless.
yeah.
We haven't found a pair of pants big enough for him yet.
Yeah, it's
And I'm so glad he's out because he walks when we do everything. But that's more than he ever did before.
yeah, and at least he's out there doing something and he's meeting friends and hopefully he has a change in life. But
Good.
You mentioned alpha male, and I think there's a lot of misconception on what that means. So
I agree.
part of the reason we started the Guys Night podcast and we did a playoff of night with the KNIGHT was, like what was a knight? What were his and back in the day when knighthood was a thing, like what were the things that were important, right? It was like taking care of your family or providing for people or being a good person. I think all that plays into a factor of the alpha male, and it's kind of similar to how when you talk about police, like when they don't have the right training, like they're not as good at cops. And it's the same thing with men, like when they're not grown up to encourage that role of being a leader in the household or taking care of the people around you, and then all their other roles start to change as well. So I love the idea of it. So obviously for you, it was like, hey, I'm going to use this to try to find an alpha male to date.
Absolutely. I dragged him into this plan, and I'm like, we're going with it.
But it is funny when you meet a lot of the guys nowadays, and not that you got to come in like King Kong and want to fight everybody, but just be able to take care of yourself and to take care of a female, whether it's something like opening the door or whatever it may be. Or nowadays, I laugh. I think some of these guys would run at the first sight of something. And once again, not that I'm asking you to fight everybody, but just stand your ground.
Yeah, I think that goes into the part of like when people think of alpha, they think of some guy who's just like yelling at people or beating
jacked out of
people
mind and
up
just
and then you're right, that's not what what's really consideration of that.
I think probably around like 97, 98 would be like the, let's call it the Limp Bizkit era of life, right? That's when this term of toxic masculinity kind of like found its way into the zeitgeist out there, social media and everything, right? It was the guys who are just, especially like in the Limp Bizkit crowd, I remember going to concerts during that time, and like I'm a pretty wild guy, but I'm not like a let's go jump in the mosh pit and punch each other and still be friends afterward. Okay, I do that a little bit, just a little bit.
Just on the weekends.
Yeah, maybe once or twice weekly. No, but I think the correction for that was just like a gross overcorrection, and I think that was. When I look at like a turning point in history of what got us to where we're at now, which it's an extreme the other side to your point where you can make the argument that, maybe, women want to be boss bitches. They, don't want kids. They want education. They want this, they want that. Or, they believe they want those things. And then, then you've got, okay, you don't want to be for men, you don't want to be in the military. You don't want to exercise. You want to play video games. You want to, do drugs. You want to do whatever. And all that's okay. And hey, I'm all for it. Like I'm a live and let live kind of person. So for the people that want to do these things, like you feel free to, go do that. The people I'll spend my time around are not going to be the people that play video games and do drugs and do nothing. I mean, I prefer to be around productive people, but yeah, I think across the board, we can go down. I mean, diet, the water supply, the information technology that's blasted in our faces to tell us that, you know, it's okay to be obese. I'll tell you, it's not okay to be obese.
No.
It's not okay at all.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, oh my God. Right. You're supposed to love your body and be okay with it, even though, and don't get me wrong, I think you should not be hate this, and this is more of like a woman's kind of message, because you don't see this a lot in men. But with women, a lot of times they just hate their body, they hate themselves, and they start to, like, you know, get destructive thoughts. And it's like, you should be okay with yourself. Like, there's a difference between loving your body no matter what, even if it's like 500 pounds, as opposed to going, I love who I am, but my body is not where it needs to be, and I'm going to start correcting course. And that's, I think, like, there's a huge difference. And where this one, where it's like, love yourself no matter what, and you don't need to correct it, is so destructive, because now everybody is obese, unhealthy, and like, the health in this country is terrible.
Right.
Well, and the other thing too is to touch on that is, like, when you say, when you tell people that's okay, well, then it becomes the normal versus, you know, hey, you're not healthy.
Yeah.
Like, doctors used to be able to tell you
Participation
that,
trophy.
yeah, well, doctors used to be able to tell you, look, you're not healthy. You need to lose 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And people would go like, hey, I need to be, even if they half-assed their diet, they thought about it, right? Now it's like a doctor tells you need to lose 50 pounds, and he's a bad guy. He's on the news. He's under a lawsuit and everything
so
else.
offensive, yeah.
Just so that somebody could just continue to eat, you know, bags of Oreos before
But
they go
most
to
of
bed.
those doctors are overweight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
don't even get me
Telling you.
started on that, because that's like a whole nother, like, doctors are giving you terrible advice on diet and nutrition, because they only have to have a week's worth of a nutrition class, and they come at
And
you.
we're glad Kennedy's making it more mandatory for med school now, where they have to take some nutrition classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you should have to know. Nutrition is so important, and no matter what ailment you have, and how you can go to a doctor nowadays, they never ask you, even if, like, let's just say depression. So you go to a doctor and you say, I'm depressed. They never
here's a
ask.
pill.
Yeah, never ask you, what kind of food are you eating? How's your
Right.
family life?
It's your exercise, like,
Yeah, any of that. And just give you a pill, even though I just heard about a study where
side effects may include.
don't, yeah, it's crazy. But walking and exercising has beat out SRIs every single time.
Well, it's
And-
a business now.
Yeah,
It's literally a business. If
Oh,
they don't
it's the
sell no
biggest
drugs,
business. Yeah.
it's terrible.
It literally, because I have a friend that went to medical school, and he's a doctor. He went to Cleveland State and became a doctor, and then after about 5 years of being in practicing medicine, he's like, I can't do it anymore, because
Good for him.
He's like, I will suggest alternatives than taking a pill. Lower your diet, lower your cholesterol intake. Get more sleep. Don't work on 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep. Get more sleep, and then come back to us in about 2 or 3 weeks, a month. See how everything is. But he's like, every time he didn't push a pill or medication, he would get called in saying, why you didn't prescribe this and that. And then he's
It's
like,
crazy.
I can't do this anymore. He's like, I'd rather have a functioning, like, someone that's cured than constantly taking medication constantly. And he just got tired of it.
Oh yeah,
good
no,
for
they
him.
don't cure anybody. They just create customers.
No,
So it's interesting we're on this doctor's top. So when we had the guys from PH Performance, one of the things that came up was we talked about the difference in modern medicine, right? Modern medicine is like, obviously there's benefits to it. People are living longer.
Yeah, our life expectancy is starting to go down.
It is now, but comparative to like where it originated,
yeah,
right?
like, we're living
if you
past
got
30.
sick in the 30s or 40s, like, it was a lot riskier
Yeah.
than if you get sick now. And I think, you know, obviously medicine and stuff plays a part, different surgeries that are available and stuff plays a part, but then that ties into the fact, all right, so we were watching a documentary the other day, and it was actually about the birth industry in the country, and how there used to be midwives and all these things, and natural births and at-home births, and the doctors took over it, and essentially, like, now if you're a woman going in to have a baby, like, they will literally find every excuse to, like, speed you along the process and get you out the door. And that's their idea of saying healthy baby, healthy mom, right? And I think that's where it made me think when we watched this. I was like, man, this is where a lot of things are in today's society as far as doctor goes. If you get a cold, you go to the doctor, you get a whatever. What do they call those packs that they give you or whatever?
CPAC.
Dose packs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they give you antibiotics. And they give you. Well, now all of a sudden your body's just a little bit less used to fighting stuff off, and you're used to going to the doctor to fix stuff, which is great. Like I said, people are getting healthier. We're getting more people through the system quicker, but it's not like the underlying issue. It's not solving the underlying issue while we're getting sick. Our diets are trash. We're not exercising enough. We're not outdoors enough. We spend too much time in front of devices and on,
It's crazy.
phones and computers. And I'm just as bad and guilty as it. Like my wife will tell you, like I'm on the phone way too much, and I hate being on the phone. I hate when I look at my hourly count for the week.
I know.
And these are things that have been brought into society. And when you talk about, the woman looking for the alpha male, I think technology played a huge part in that, because women looked at it as like, well, if my husband just wants to play video games with his friends on a Saturday night until 2:00 in the morning, like I would like to get some more stuff for the house, or I would like to go do a trip, or I want to do this. I'm just going to have to go get a better job. And then like
That's a
that
good
movement
point.
started where women are like, well, if my husband's not going to do it, or if I can't find a man to take charge and do it, like I'm just going to do it myself. And I think that's kind of what switched the thing. And then men were like, all right, fuck it. Let them go ahead and do it themselves. Like, I'm going to play video games.
And then as their testosterone's lowering, like little by little, year by year, and then you're just seeing this weird shift happen. And it obviously didn't happen overnight. I think it happened slowly, little by little. And all of a sudden we looked around and we're like, holy shit, what the hell happened? Like, how did we get here? When really you look back and you're like, you can actually see like some progression and where stuff started to turn.
Well, you can see it too in demographics. Like, people are getting married at a much older age. People are having kids at a much older age, or buying their first house at a much older age. Like everybody's just like delaying growing up.
Yeah.
And our life isn't getting that much longer. You know what I
No.
mean? So now you're like 40 years old trying to play catch up to like all this stuff you missed out on because you were not lazy, but you just had nobody taught you what was important when you were 18 years old.
Here's just a little spoiler alert, because I had a thought a couple of minutes ago here, but the U.S. government isn't going to help any of us. I'll tell you
For real?
for real. But for the audience out there, there's nobody that's going to help you with this. If you think about our economy, like we have the biggest economy on the globe, right? It's us. We're the biggest. Agriculture is roughly 1.1% of our economy. Think about that number for a minute.
Yeah.
The top of our economy is finance and insurance. So basically our investment markets are the biggest portion of our economy. And then somewhere in this weird area of the pie chart, these three topics are kind of all convoluted together, but they're healthcare, manufacturing, and professional and business services, which are all in three separate categories, but they're all part of the same thing, because you have to manufacture things like pharmaceuticals. And so that's part of this piece here. So it's like a three-way tie, but healthcare is in that. And I've had this on a separate episode where we've talked about like cancer as a business, and then we talked a little bit about that earlier.
Just to interject for a
Yeah.
second. One, I'm impressed. I taught finance and economics, so I am impressed. Number two, when I went through my 6 weeks of radiation, $230,000.
Holy shit.
For 6
And it
weeks.
was standing room only. When my 20 minutes was up, somebody was waiting to
Right
get
behind
right
you.
in there.
So I want to hear a little bit more about your story. And we talked a little bit about it before the podcast. I definitely want to get into that.
But no, continue with what you're talking about. That's important.
The punchline with that is, and everybody can do their own research for this. Here comes, put your tinfoil hats on for just a
mine's
moment
like
here.
permanently on. I just so you guys are understand.
Yeah.
Who will tell you there's not a day that I don't talk about something crazy.
Yeah, good.
Well, crazy in quotes, because it's real. It's just in 6 months we'll realize it's
Right.
Yeah.
Cancer, we'll just talk about just cancer alone. If the cure is out there anywhere, and it likely is, we'll never see it, because curing cancer alone, cancer just as a whole, that represents such a large piece of our economy that curing that, ending that, is enough to probably topple our entire system, our entire financial system, just with what's produced in treatment, personnel alone. I mean, it's millions of jobs that are tied to that. It's research, which in my mind probably just goes in circles. Not to say that they, haven't treated people and, people haven't, gone into remission and lived healthy lives afterwards and everything. But it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars just in that the last time I looked at it, which was a couple of years ago. And you take $100 billion out of any economy, and that's lights out for the entire economy. That's enough to cause a recession that would be unrecoverable.
It's crazy to think about. And I remember we go to this one like sports and nutrition seminar. They have it every year. Or they'll go every other year. And it's a lot of really cool, innovative doctors that come on, or just people in the industry. A lot of it's geared toward bodybuilding and powerlifting, but some of it's just innovative medicine. And the one guy was talking about that this is still in the works. I believe it's still being tested. But what's crazy is it's not so underground anymore, because Kim Kardashian posted with this guy a couple weeks ago. And this guy told us about this maybe 2 years ago, I think it was. Do you remember with the doctor?
Yeah.
And he said they're working on something where right now, if you wanted to increase your testosterone, you take testosterone, you add it into your body.
Right.
This was something where they can actually alter your gene to produce, let's just say you wanted a certain level, 750. You do that, and it causes your body to produce it, and it lasts for 2 years.
Wow.
So you get one shot. And the same was going on with diabetics with
I was
insulin.
gonna say, there's a cure already for diabetes type 1.
Yeah.
It's in China. It's it's also in Europe, where they genetically modify your body. But the problem is with that now is you got to take anti-rejection pills for the rest of your life.
Oh, see, this wasn't with this guy. So we must be talking about two different things.
Yeah, because it's genetic manipulation. But when they do it, you have to take anti-rejection pills. But when it comes to that, then if you get sick,
you're done.
You're done. You're dead. So either you get sick with the diabetes and get sick and be fine.
Yeah, but this is where things originate, right? Now somebody will test. Now they'll go to the next level.
Yes.
Where somebody will find a way around it. But
Evan, you may have the cure. Let's go try it. I'm down for China. You know that. I've been trying to get you to go for a year now.
Was it $25,000 to do it?
We'll raise that.
Just so you're aware, you were talking about cancer, $50 to $70 billion annually.
Yeah,
It's
annually.
insane.
Annually.
Yeah. So if you,
400 billion.
That's insane.
yeah, that's $1 trillion if you look at it, 10 years out easily.
Well, not only that, but that's just to the research aspect of it. That's not the spend on the actual treatments and things that are,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
In addition to that.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think about. And then with my little tinfoil hat, I think we are overdiagnosing people now. And you can say by accident, you can say on purpose, whatever it is. But they say, especially with women with breast cancer, with mammograms. One, they're showing that mammograms can actually cause the cancer because how it squeezes it and can squeeze the tumor, break it apart, and cause it to spread.
Yeah.
But they, don't tell you that. And then also, like I said, the parameters are off. And some women have dense boobs, breasts, whatever, that can actually cause it to have a fake or a false positive. And they don't tell you that either.
Right.
So you have to be really careful with that. So that's just a little part that can cause overdiagnosis. And you're seeing it. And don't get me wrong, I do think cancer is increasing tremendously.
Sure.
For all different kinds of reasons. But I do think overdiagnosing is a thing too.
Well, and that's where it goes back to modern medicine. It's not necessarily, is it overdiagnosing, or is it just saying let's get ahead of this, get this person this, and this, and then hopefully they're in and out of the system and they're fixed. And now we can move on to the next patient and collect our $240,000.
They call it practicing medicine.
Right. So for a reason.
Yeah.
With the emphasis on practice.
Well, tell them though, this will blow your guys'
Well,
mind.
yeah, I was going to say, let's get into your process, because this sounds like a perfect example of modern medicine and what happened to you. Right?
Yeah, no, and not even, but before we get into his thing, tell him about what MD Anderson said about the nasal cancer. This is crazy.
Oh, when they told me I didn't have cancer, and this is MD Anderson.
The number one, they bounce between 1 and 2 of the number 1 cancer hospital in the country.
In the country. But anyway, when Michelle and I were down there, we asked them how often does something like this happen. They go, just about every day. They go, someone was just in there that day that I was there, that came in with extreme aggressive nasal cancer, and turned out they had a sinus infection.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
They came from a second hospital for a second opinion.
Wow. So let's get into your aspect then, because you said now you'll never not get a second opinion. What happened? Because I'm sure our guests or people that are listening are probably like, why does he keep pushing a button to talk?
Right. Well,
Yeah, this isn't his real voice.
yeah. Wait till my singing career starts.
Yeah.
But anyway, about 3 years ago,
Yeah.
3.5 years ago, my voice was a little raspy. So I went down to the clinic to get checked out. They told me that after doing a biopsy that I had throat cancer. And I had two options, either surgery, where they would determine if they take everything out, or
Meaning his vocal cords.
Right.
or I could do radiation. Well, I found out radiation was 6 weeks, and it's like I'd have my voice, so I did that. But what I didn't do was get a second opinion. After I was done with the radiation, they claimed it was gone, but then when I went for another checkup with them, they go, whoops, it came back. Well, we went down to MD Anderson with the slides from the Cleveland Clinic, and they go, Gregg, you don't have cancer. But because since you got radiated for 6 weeks, you're probably going to develop it. And I did probably 6 months later, 3
Yeah,
months later.
it was crazy. Like right when the time frame that they told us was it, and he just started like breathing kind of funny.
Wait, hold on. So they told you didn't have cancer. That was misdiagnosed after the radiation because Cleveland Clinic said it wasn't gone or it came back. Now the MD Anderson tells you, well, because you did radiation, you're probably going to develop cancer. Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Because whatever was there, it wasn't cancer. It was just some like abnormal growth. But if the radiation didn't do anything to it because it wasn't cancer, so it was still there. So like, there's also a lot of questions that we have, like, okay, so what happened to it then? Like, why did you claim it went away and then all of a sudden magically it's in the same shape, same place,
Right.
not that long after? Like, we're talking like a couple months after. So like, nothing they did made sense.
Right.
I think it was a complete like botched the whole thing from top to bottom. And what's crazy is, so your listeners know, we ask questions. We're not just like, oh, okay, that's what you think. My mom asked specifically to the doctor, how do you know that this is cancer? And the doctor at the Cleveland Clinic said, because I know what cancer looks like. Well, obviously you don't. So
they didn't do a
that's
biopsy or anything ahead of time?
what they did. So
did.
this is what we didn't realize.
They misread the biopsy.
So what we thought when you do a second opinion, it's what kind of thing, like the second opinions on how do you fix the problem,
Right.
not whether you have cancer or not. That's what you actually also need to get a second opinion on, because it's not black and white. The cancer cells don't wave little flags saying cancer, we are cancer. It's a huge gray area. So you're dependent on the pathologist, right? Yeah, it's opinion.
I got asked for an official timeout on the field.
Yeah.
When I talk about this, it makes me have to take a leak.
No worries. All right, we'll hold on for a second.
Yeah,
Evan's diabetic.
Yeah,
if
tell
they
you what
didn't.
that, so
Okay.
My family and friends are always constantly one. My friends are constantly my friends that are doctors are constantly sending me new medical advice, eating routine.
He likes to read that while eating pancakes.
I don't lie. I'm a big
With syrup
my one endocrinologist is fighting with my other doctor right now because my one doctor wants me on testosterone. The endocrinologist wants me on testosterone, and my other doctor does not want me on testosterone.
Why?
Because he's like, you're not in the red yet. I'm like,
but why do you want to wait until it
endocrinologist
breaks?
Huh?
Yeah.
Why do you want to wait until it breaks?
Well,
Like that's so
he's
dumb.
He's like, we don't want to give it to it. I'm like, I just want to take it because it's supposed to make you feel better. I'm like, whatever.
I bet you they'll give it to you in China.
Yeah.
My friends go to the Philippines and go buy it and fly
Well,
back.
we can probably give you a couple recommendations
Yeah.
if you want somebody to.
You get testosterone anywhere. Dude.
I know that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. My friend's like, I can get you the cream. I can get you the fucking cream.
The cream doesn't work. It's from what I. Oh, here. Hold on a sec. We're back. All right. Piss break is over.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's not get on a tangent about testosterone because we're still in the middle of his story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's finish
So
this
let
story up.
me like go back. So getting a second opinion is important not only for the treatment process, but whether or not you actually have cancer or not, because you're putting like that in the hands of the pathologist, which you've never met, because it's not the doctor determining it. It's a pathologist that they send the results to, or the sample to. So if they're not good at their job, if they're off that day, if they didn't drink enough coffee, you know what I mean? So many things can go wrong, which they did in his case. And they could just say, oh, it looks like cancer. And yes, it is. And again, if you want to get into like the conspiracy, are they being told to? If you're on the fence, say yes. So then we get them into this, whole, radiation chemo program. And then like, not only do they make money from that, I mean, think of the damage that those things do for the rest of these people's lives. They're going to end up with all kinds of health problems. And so now you have a customer, even if you do you go into remission for cancer, you're still going to be a customer for life.
Well, going back to modern medicine, better safe than sorry is the way they look at it, right? Like, oh, it's just better to be safe, and this is what we consider safe. Hurry up and get all this stuff.
But the safe thing kills your good cells. I mean,
So, and that's where, talking about how modern medicine works is they are, yes, it's probably doing some damage to healthy people, but it's probably saving some lives because they're getting a jump start on it, which that makes it okay.
That's what they justify.
You know what I mean? Like, if they have 100 people that they wrongfully diagnosed, 2 of them, well, did they help those other 98 people survive? Then that's worth it. It's the same thing as vaccines and everything else that's out there. Is it helping a majority of people? Well, then it's okay that it doesn't help everybody, and it hurts some people. And that's why you can't sue when you get fucked up from a vaccine.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right?
It's
because it's for the greater good of the population in their eyes. And that's, unfortunately, there's just too much government.
Matter of fact, one of the unique things that happened from all this when we had to do surgery down in MD Anderson down in Houston, I lost, I went from 220 down to 160.
Holy shit.
It was crazy. Like, if I showed you pictures, you would not even recognize him. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight.
Well, I couldn't eat or breathe or anything. But anyway, when after the operation, I was on a feeding tube, and the stuff they gave me.
Oh my, I was furious. It was like Ensure, the shittiest stuff ever, full of sugar, full of chemicals.
And no protein.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I had Michelle, my wife, buy amino acids. We started putting them in. Well, the dietitian got mad.
Yeah.
Because she goes, for 150-pound male, you only need this many grams of protein. I go, lady, that's the generic thing.
Yeah.
I go, I know what my body needs, and I'm usually 210 or 220.
Yeah, I mean, why am I going to pump myself full of empty calories?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, luckily my surgeon, he was the top surgeon down there at MD for this type of surgery. He wrote me a prescription that I was allowed to. Within the first 3 or 4 days I was there, I gained 12 pounds back once I started taking the amino acids. Matter of fact, they still laugh down there because the day after my surgery, I don't sit very well.
And this was a 13-hour surgery. It was a long-ass surgery.
Let's get back, before we get to that part. So you actually then get cancer after the radiation.
Right.
And now they have to operate you. So that's what this operation is to remove the cancer.
Yes, and too, because his voice box was so damaged because of the radiation and I didn't even know this before he went through this. Your little flap that dictates, air and food. Yeah, that's on your voice box. So that got damaged. So even if they just got the cancer, this was so damaged, he would have drowned or whatever. So they had, again, it was half radiation, half cancer.
Slept through all this.
Yeah, he has and what's crazy is this all happened within a month and a half period of time. He was in and out of ICU, taken by ambulance 5 times. He coded, which I was the trophy girl for the North Coast bodybuilding show. We were on stage because, of course, the psychopath made us, he was in the hospital, he woke up, he was always ventilated. So they take him by ambulance, he's in the hospital, he gets ventilated, and then he comes off the ventilator. That's our routine now, so on the 4th time, it's Wednesday before the show. He thinks he's going to go to the show, by the way. He's already talking. We're like, I don't know if that's going to happen, Dad, and he's like, I'm going to make it. We're like, okay. So, but he sends us because he's like, you guys need, we're not going to not have trophy girls. You got to do your job. So he sends us. He codes on the day of the North Coast while we're on stage. No, obviously, nobody tells us. So we're, being professional, whatever, on stage. And we find out that at the end of the show, because my mom stayed home with him, thankfully, and all that. And what's crazy is you walked to the ambulance that day and coded before he got to the hospital. So, I mean, it was like quick.
Wow.
But at that point, it was done. Like we had to do the surgery because, again, this was our 5th stint now for this. And that's when they finally realized what was causing it. Because what's crazy is, like, they would always use a scope to look down his throat to see what was going on, because his breathing would just get off. And then his CO2 levels, which he actually, again, broke a record at the hospital for the highest CO2 levels they ever saw the first time, which I think normal you're at.
They thought I was a junkie.
Yeah, they thought he was a meth head. So, like, okay, so funny story. The first time we go in there, we have we don't know what's going on, but we're telling him, giving him a list of like supplements, vitamins, because they're like, what is he taking, whatever. And at this point, you couldn't sleep because his, like, he was like up all the time.
He couldn't breathe.
Yeah, you couldn't breathe. So and his body's all stressed.
Yeah.
So our doctor gives him something to get him to try to sleep, because again, we had no idea it was something like a blockage. But what happens is when you give somebody something to sleep when they have a blockage, that causes their CO2 to rise very rapidly. That's not the right thing to do. So they think he overdosed on stuff and that he's like a drug addict and all this because, like, the CO2 is so high. And we're like, no, that's not the case. Then they think that he's also suicidal because they think that he did, like, because they're like saying all this crazy stuff. We're like, nothing of that sort happened, So then we go, like, now he got unventilated, he's awake. And so like Mennonite nurse came in, and I say that because, proper, nothing out of the ordinary. And she's going to evaluate him psychologically to see if he's suicidal and, his thoughts and emotions and everything. And she asks, do you follow like a religion that you listen to? Well, he follows Mel Chansey. He's friends with Mel Chansey, who is the old.
Do you know who he is?
I don't.
Go ahead.
Mel used to be the former president of Chicago, Hell's Angel.
Okay.
So he started a ministry
Oh,
online,
okay.
like on Instagram.
After doing some time in prison.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know him personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he does a great thing, like has a great following and everything. But he's telling this Mennonite nurse who thinks he's suicidal and meth head and all this stuff that he follows the old Hell's Angels president for his religion. And I'm like, Dad, this is not the time to like just say, nobody. Like, we love Mel, and like I said, he does a great job. I don't think that was a time and place to say that.
It's like, oh God, this guy wants to be a Hell's Angel.
Right. And I'm like, and he's a bodybuilder, like they also
yeah.
don't know what to do about that. And what's funny is the nurses were telling us they were all making bets on if he had chest implants. And because they never saw somebody with that dense chest muscles at his age. So, like, from the start, we were like this weird family that came in with this health problem. You know what I mean? And
Jesus.
all that.
Which, just a side note, like my throat, you can't tell I had surgery except for my magic button. Well, they gave me the option of either taking my back or my outer sweep of my quad to rebuild my throat with.
Oh, really?
So I took my outer sweep on my quad.
Okay.
So that's what's in my throat.
No shit.
Yeah,
so
isn't that
is it
nuts?
like a skin graft kind of that they do, or do they actually take the
Like
muscle
if-
from it?
Like, I couldn't really compete again on the top level because my outer sweep is gone.
Really? That's crazy.
And you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to do stem cells and everything else, and they'd have to graft something in there.
Wow.
At
Well, your
this
legs
stage,
still
you
look
can-
good. Yeah. It's
Yeah, right. But yeah.
from like a diehard bodybuilder, it's like taking your heart and your soul, taking your outer sweep of your quad.
Right.
But anyway, that was the sad tale of what I went through, but
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, you're still here today, so
Yeah.
ultimately it worked out, but you went through hell in order to get here.
And what's wild is, so talking about going back to the doctors, a very large overweight doctor, like the one that was running the floor, told him that he tried to push blood pressure medicine on him because he said his blood pressure was high. And
well, they wake you up every hour. How are you feeling?
Right.
How are you doing?
he just got
wanted-
taken by ambulance Like, just got off a ventilator. No
I
shit, your
wanna
blood pressure's
sleep.
high. And he was like basically pushing this on him. This is what you need. This is, you're gonna like die. You need to survive. All this. And you're like,
So
are you out of your mind?
I took the blood pressure medicine. I did this because Michelle looked at me like, you're really taking it. And so then he walked out of the room. I handed him to her to throw down the toilet.
Yeah.
The guy came back 2 hours later, took my blood pressure. It was perfect. He goes, see? I go, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Oh, then you decided to play the game.
Yeah, that's because I'm furious. And like, what's funny is the doctor comes in. I'm sitting across like the little hospital table. We're like eating, and the doctor comes in. You're attached to all kinds of sensors, like your heart rate and everything.
Right.
The doctor comes in. I hate this doctor. I'm like, ready to rip his head off, and I'm like fuming. Like when he goes to like, talk to my dad about the blood pressure medicine, and my dad gives me this look like, like I want to get out of here. Don't say a word.
Yeah.
And I'm like this, and his like. All the like monitors, his heart rate completely normal, fine. I'm like, how are you masking this? How are you not so furious? Which is definitely the difference. He's definitely the calmer of the two of us. I was not. I was ready to tell that guy where to stick it.
And just to back off of something you said, when I walked around that hospital floor after I was done, I'm like, buddy, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
he got me through it and I'm able to do everything. But they laughed because the last I heard, I still have the record there. I walked 88 laps around the hospital floor the day after they did me because I had nothing else to do.
Right.
I can't watch TV unless there's something good on.
Yeah, right. And that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But the doctor was super. He's the head surgeon down there. Matter of fact, a year later, he had called us on
Like Zoom. You're
Zoom
talking about?
call. I'm trying. Sorry.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted me to make a videotape because he had to go give a talk in Sweden, and I was his number one subject. He was used as an example of what they can accomplish.
Yeah, it was like a
now.
laryngectomy conference or something like that. So they used him as like an example of
So
how
how
to
does
overcome it.
that thing work? Because obviously you have to push it when you're about to talk or whatever it is. So how? Oh, that's the actual voice box?
No, this is a filter.
Oh,
The filter in
okay.
the. So I have a little.
Is there like actually a hole in your throat then?
Yeah, so what's crazy
Yeah.
is they take your esophagus, like how we have it, like our air and our food go down, and then
Right.
like meat, they actually separate it, so he can never choke to death. So like if
Ah.
he ate, he can always still breathe because
Gotcha.
it's not the same. Like
Oh,
it's
so
not-
so when he eats, it's not through the same place your air's going.
no, that's why so you breathe here,
Uh-huh.
so it like bypasses it to your lungs. So
Oh.
because again, you don't have that flap to dictate it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But
so
if
you
I-
have to,
Oh
If
wow.
I block this off with my thumb, I can blow out a candle still.
which is weird though because you're not supposed to. Like they don't
Oh,
know why.
really?
Mm-hmm. He can.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so my body has adjusted to a few
I
things.
still tell him, I believe your body can regenerate. Again, this might sound crazy. I think your body can regenerate stuff. And I keep telling him, I'm like, picture it regrowing, because that's really all you need to have grow back is the flappy thing that
Right.
matters. And I'm like, I think it could grow back. I do. And so I tell him that all the time. I'm like, so who knows? Maybe
So
one day.
that singing career ain't over.
Maybe.
That's
it
got a
might.
chance. Or you could just, AI.
That's true. That's what I'm like, worst case.
Just disguise
AI.
your voice with AI. Just make yourself like Bruce Springsteen when you're
Yeah.
singing, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So cancer free now.
Yes. It's
Congratulations.
been 2.5 years. Thank you very, very much.
And
I hope your father comes out that
Yeah.
way
He's
too.
cancer free about 9 months since the last.
Oh, that's
podcast.
awesome.
I didn't even know. That's so sad, dude. I didn't know that.
No,
How do you not share that
my
with your
dad told
closest
me I
friends and
can't
allies?
my dad's like, I can't have you talk about it. I don't want to get messages. I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do my thing.
Well, now you just put him on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, you know what? He hasn't told me anything, so he's gonna probably watch the podcast. He's gonna smack me upside
Yeah.
down next time he sees me.
Good.
It's like,
Smack him
"Oh, man."
twice. Once for me, once for David.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
because
thank you. Well, it was just a weird coincidence because my dad lost his voice about 12, 15 years ago, and when I was
from hollering at you.
Huh?
From hollering at you.
Probably, yeah.
Get
probably,
off the
yeah.
couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, get off the couch. Stop watching so much TV. get a job, better job.
Oh, your dad and I have something in common. I'm always telling you, get off your phone.
My dad's always yelling at me, but that's how me and my dad like literally
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. And he's like, "Come on, I have you fix the car with me." I'm like, "Fuck, I hate this."
Yeah.
Go weed the bed.
Weed the beds.
Go help me play some dirt. Pick some of those bags up and put them over there. I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna yell." Yeah, but it was like literally 15 years ago. He lost his voice. They thought he had a virus because he literally lost his voice for about like 9 months to a year, and then it came back, but it didn't come back as strong. And then they did a bunch of research and a lot of tests and stuff, and they couldn't find anything really wrong with him at that point. So he just kept living his life. And then 2 years ago, he said his throat started hurting more. He started feeling sick, and I told him, "You fucking go to the hospital, go do something."
Yeah.
Because it's been a week. Why don't you freaking get some tests done? You're retired. No, you don't have to worry about going back to work. And then next thing you know, some tests came back, showed him positive for cancer. So they started running some more tests and said, "You have thyroid cancer." And
That's so crazy.
And then the specialist came in and said, "It's a really weird form of thyroid cancer." He's like, most of the cancer cells are in balls, lumps, and stuff. Somehow it grew flush around your neck, the whole neck.
So it just kept going farther and farther.
Farther and farther. It started growing on his voice box, and it started taking over one side of his neck. So now my dad talks for a little bit of time. He loses his voice completely because they had to scrape the cancer cells off.
Okay.
And then when they got done with it, it's like one side of your neck is completely paralyzed. The other part of your vocal cords is fine. But if you talk a lot, you're going to start paralyzing your neck. So the doctor's like, tea, honey.
Tell your son to stop fucking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my dad, like literally a few hours after surgery, he's like holding his neck. He's like, "Go home.
Yeah.
Your mom, go home.
You know,
Go home. Do your thing."
I'm glad it worked out for not only you but also your dad because one of our guests that was on during the VFW show, he throat cancer. He actually just had to have surgery because they had to remove a little bit of piece of that thing because it was like he would be choking when he was eating, like he couldn't swallow because of that little flappy part or whatever.
That's
so they actually had to trim it. And then I've known him and then one other person where like not being able to eat food, not being like, God, brutal.
Oh, that's what we were worried about with him too. Like that's what we thought maybe might be the result because that's such a crazy thing to think about. Like you take for granted eating.
Yeah. And, you know, when I was younger, one of my friends' dad had and I just remember all the thing, he was on a liquid diet basically. And it was just so painful. And all he did, I mean, he drank his problems away at that point. Like, cause it's just, and I feel like food's so important, diet's so important, all that stuff. If you're not able to eat and you're starving yourself, your head's not thinking right. You're probably depressed. Like like everything's just got to be thrown off. And we talk about this, especially in the body. You can't like liquefy your nutrients.
Well, actually,
to a degree.
So with him, he was on a feeding tube for 7 weeks, and we got him above 200 pounds on a feeding tube. But here's what helped him though. He didn't taste it, so we can put anything in there. So we were blaming. It's funny because. You're only supposed to.
I was just a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, let's see if this does.
Because he's like, listen, we got to get me above 200 like immediately. You know, like I'm not. He put a suit jacket on for like the first time, and he's like, this shit fits. This is not happening again. You know, like because he's never been able to fit into a suit jacket in his life, except during this time. And so we got it. You guys had the Vitamix. And then we got him for Christmas like years ago. They never used, got it out. And I'm like, okay, what can we get down this tube? And it's funny, for like insurance purposes, you're only supposed to use the shitty like Ensure drinks, which like going back really quick, when he was in the hospital and they were giving him Ensure, you demanded that they give you something better. So they gave him the good stuff, okay? So like think about that. They're not giving you the good stuff ahead of time.
Right. They wait till you complain about it.
And then, so they give it, and I'm looking at the nutrition facts, and they each can, and he had to drink 8 of these a day to get up to his calories. Each can had 50 grams of brown rice syrup solids or whatever, so all sugar. So I'm like, oh, so now you're just trying to give him diabetes on top of that? Like, what's going on here? And so at that point, I think you did it for a couple of days just until you had to leave the hospital, and then it was like game on, you know, like when he got home.
We just started putting protein powder.
I even put ground meat in there. Like you could put peanut butter, ground meat. We had, spinach.
like you
had
just had to liquefy it, right?
everything. And what's funny though is you're only supposed to put down, like I said, the shitty canned stuff that they give you at the hospital down there because it clogs the tubes. Well, we're not listening to that. And so we kept clogging them up and my mom would have to keep ordering new ones. And they're like, well, aren't you just sticking the liquid stuff down? My mom's like, yeah, I just don't know why it's clogging up. This is so weird, but I need like 100 more of them. But yeah, we were like, and he would just sit there. Like we would make a huge, shake amount. And since it's a gravity bag, he would sit down, we would hang it up high and he would just sit there for like an hour every meal and just let the calories come in because
that's different. Okay, so when you were saying you were feeding whatever, I was like, well, if you're just drinking protein powder and like throwing in like drinks that have all this stuff, like you could put in 100 grams of protein and you're only going to get 60 of it.
Oh
right?
yeah, no,
But if you're putting actual ground,
we were doing like 4,000 calories a day.
Oh my god,
it was like
loading up like spinach and kale and all this stuff in there.
I'm giving him ideas how to go out drinking.
I was just wondering. It's like, okay, tell me you guys didn't like sneak some vodka into that mix. There while he was there. It's like, oh, watch this, Dad.
I hate to say this, but I haven't drank for probably almost 48 years now.
Really?
For you.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Choice just to not drink, or just health, or just
a choice because, well, as you guys know, when you all get together and everybody's drinking, the stories change a little bit.
Or someone falls asleep.
Yeah.
during the podcast.
or you end up at a gas station getting ice.
Oh, yeah.
So I found out if I stay sober, I can make sure that stories are told correctly.
Correctly.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Correctly.
Yeah, then you get to add in your own stuff, and then it's easier to keep track.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, they can't deny it because they don't remember on it.
All right, let's get back to, do you have any more on that?
Well, yeah, no, I was going to switch back. You're probably thinking along the same lines. Like I wanted to get back to male masculinity. Sure. And Greg, a question for you. So you retired from teaching 35 years. What levels did you teach?
Oh, he has an interesting teaching career.
I taught high school
Okay.
for 34 of my 35 years.
Okay.
Retired from Cleveland Heights on east side of Cleveland.
Okay.
I did, I think, my last 18 or 19 years there.
In
I taught finance and economics for about 18 years. And then the last 17, I had the work-study program. It was the gangbangers coming back from juvie or on their way to juvie, where I would teach them life skills. How to run an apartment, buy a car, do it, all the things we had to learn.
all the things that they should be teaching kids anyway.
Oh, yeah.
right. Yeah.
Right, so
But his work study wasn't like the suburban work study program that like I think a lot of us are used to. It was like our legit kids coming back from prison, and like we would go to take your daughter to work day, like back when that was a thing. And I remember Lauren went, my sister, one time, and let's just say she went on a Wednesday, and like my dad comes home on Thursday, and he's like, man, I'm so glad Lauren didn't, go today, and she went yesterday. And Mom's like, why? He's like, oh, because like Bobby, who I had take her around, held somebody up at gunpoint in the hall today. It was just the stories he tells is crazy.
we had like 12 security guards and 2 armed cops and a camera and everything. Like, I love teaching. There are a lot of great kids, really are, but most of them did not have a father. And I go back to, I guess, just what we're talking about, alpha male. And I love women to death. But you guys know when you're 12 years old, you're bigger than your mom. And the only thing that kept all of us in check was, wait till I tell your father.
Right.
It's cool, Mom. What do you need done?
Well, it's not only that, but having a father is like, moms are supposed to be soft to a degree, right? And obviously there could be some tough moms out there. There's like some highly disciplined moms that are,
I agree.
and in most cases it's probably because they had to be. But there's just a completely different approach to having, and maybe that's why I was so close with my stepdad. There's just certain things as a boy you don't want to tell a mom, or you're not going to tell a mom, or you can't joke about. And it's kind of like, one of the things when we came up with the Guys Night podcast, I've said this over and again, is we did originally weren't going to have women ever on the show because there's just certain things you can say in front of in a group of men that you can't always say, even in front of your closest friend that's a woman or your wife or your sister or anything, because they just look at it differently.
Right. They don't take it the way we mean it.
Right. We might be saying as a joke, we could take a joke, whatever. It just does multiple different things. So when you take that male out of the household, it's just the mom has to do both.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody should have to do both. Just like, I mean, a father shouldn't have to be the mother.
Oh, exactly. I don't think women can do both. Can excel in it. I just don't.
Do both either.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So it's
Right.
not. It's you have a role for a reason, and I think like where we're at now, people don't want to admit it, or they're like downplaying it, or that it's horrible to say, that, and it's just I think not gotten us to a good place.
Well, and we talk about all the time, the stories I have of being a kid, like where my parents were. I mean, I was a home alone kid from like 8, 9 years old on, and where I was at that point was in Hesperia, California.
Do this.
Yeah. Home Alone.
But when my parents went to work, like I was home alone. I had a little sister who's 3 years younger than me, right? Like, and we did stupid shit with our neighbors and whatnot. We were gone all day, like. It didn't matter because as long as you were home, like around the same time your parents got home or whatever the case might be.
The street lights.
Yeah.
But I grew up in like now if you look up Hesperia, California or Victorville, California, like what happens there, like I didn't notice that when I was a kid, but it was still going on when I was a kid. It's just a very high illegal immigrant area, a lot of gang violence and stuff like that. But I feel like growing up in a household where I got in trouble if I did stuff wrong made me like if I was out with myself, I thought twice before I made a bad decision.
Right.
And
That's so important.
and also the stories you get, like your mom could tell a story about her growing up as a kid and doing stuff, but when dad does it, it's kind of cool when you're a boy.
Yeah.
Like I just told a story the other day about the first time my dad bought this one tool when he showed me how to use this one tool, and it was because he had to buy it at the last minute to like get in behind the vents of a dash to get a joint that rolled down there when he was detailing his dad's car. And like just like stories like that, and it's like my dad telling me stories how he wrecked when they were drinking and driving and things like that, and like then it hits you like when you're in that moment where you have to make that decision, you're like, yeah, that story is funny, but that could have went the other way. And then that's how we learn as children is you got to hear both points of the view versus like, oh, it's okay that you didn't do well in school today. You're still my little Charlie superstar because that's what mom's supposed to do. And then dad takes you out back and whoops your butt with a paddle.
Which is what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
One of the things Michelle and I were very happy with, she sold real estate, but she did it in the evening when I came home. So we made sure she was at home. These guys always had her there when they came home, and nothing wrong with what other people do, but we just made a decision. That's what we were going to do.
And you were able to.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing. Now you're not financially. It's very hard to not have both parties. Yeah, working. So it's.
I've never gotten my Corvette yet, but
Yeah.
I will.
Hey, you do have your chopper or your big dog or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your motorcycle.
But too, I laugh because a lot of times people always ask, who influenced you the most? Who's the greatest person you ever met? And I, without a doubt, I always say my dad.
Yeah, in good and bad. Like my stepdad was the biggest part of my life. My real dad was out when I was 6, and I don't remember him hardly at all. But I know he was an alcoholic, and I know that my stepdad was an alcoholic. And I remember a weekend at my uncle's where we woke up the next day. He was like sober for like 7, 8 years, and like whatever happened in the middle of the night, he drank like 2 gallons of vodka, and he was barely functioning. We had to drop him off at.
my God.
So I remember that part of my dad. But I also remember the part of my dad that got up every day at 5 a.m., went to the job site, and managed his crews and everything, and didn't get home till 8 o'clock at night, made sure food was always on the table. And then on Friday, we'd leave and go hiking in the mountains or something like that. So, like, there's both aspects, but he was there.
Yeah.
And mom was there too. And for these families, and that's part of what's probably demised that alpha male aspect is that there's, well, one, our government influences men to be out of the house because they reward the women for not being with their father. And two, it's just there's so much of it going on right now, and there's unfortunately these kids don't see it from both points of view.
So, well, one of the things when I was teaching, I used to have to make home visits, and once again, my population that I taught was a 92% minority. And once again, a lot of great kids had a blast there. But one of the things that always amazed me, they would go, Coach, you're the first Caucasian to ever come in our house that is in law enforcement.
Wow.
You know, and I thought, wow, that's pretty sad. Where we've had people from all kinds of races.
Oh yeah, all
and
walks of
nationalities,
life, everything.
just because of all the friends and everything we have.
Sure.
But that really kind of hit home that it's a shame because of the way they were brought up. You know, they ran into that. But I laughed because I gave them all my phone number and all that other jazz. We've had some interesting phone calls over.
Oh, I've
the
had
year.
prison picked up and it's a jail call multiple times because he was
But-
there, get out of jail.
But other times, like the one kid, he was in the Navy, he was in Hawaii. He called at midnight, Hawaiian time.
Oh, wow.
So
It's 5 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he remembered I had always taught him what to do if you're in a car accident. That if it's your fault, move the car. If it's not your fault, leave it there so the cops can see whose fault. Minor detail.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he calls me up and he had been in the Navy for 5 years already. And I'm like, Mel, I'm amazed and I'm thrilled you got my number still. And he goes, Coach, I always have your number in my wallet now. But we would get a lot of different phone calls like that. And sometimes,
Yes, he's
kids
prison.
running into
Have
some
you
issues.
ever hidden any bodies?
Yeah, not yet. I don't know if they've ever told him
Yeah, that
where
I-
they're hidden.
Well, I would laugh because remember when the SAG was very popular?
Yeah.
Well, I'd always get the kids because the one night a couple of my kids went and borrowed a car. Well, when they got pulled over, they went to run, and the one kid, his pants fell down in a tree. And I don't know the officer's name, and I don't mean him no disrespect, but they always used to call him Donut Man because he was rather large. Donut Man caught him and sat on top of him. And so I always go, Antoine's doing time because he had his pants sagged. And if you're going to do something stupid, you better make sure you're ready to move. 'Cause
Teaching those
when-
important life lessons to these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, but the funny thing is, like, you could joke about it, but like you said, those kids remembered that.
Yeah.
And a lot of those kids probably grew up in households without fathers, not
Yeah,
by
well,
choice.
No, and then just another funny story. One of my kids goes, Coach, you want to see my new baby brother? And I'm like, yeah. So he gets his phone out, shows it to me. And I go, oh, that's cool. I go, what do you got, 2, 3 brothers now? He goes, no, Coach, I got 19. I go, 19? I go, your mom must be one busy woman. He goes, no, Coach. My dad's got about 6 or 7 wives. I see him once a month when he comes over to spend the night with my mom. And I thought,
That's
how sad. I mean, here you are talking about your dad and your dad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure eventually you would be, but it's just, you know, it's shame. And then you wonder why some kids turn out the way they do.
Sure.
They don't have the same experiences that all of us have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you get into that alpha male aspect, and then you know, we're gonna tonight go up to the square. But I think
I
Going-
think that's really a great idea that you're doing that.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, because I want to I want to see who's gonna show up. I'm excited to hopefully see a big crowd because, you know, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, and that just happened, I think he is considered an alpha male. But when you look at him physically, that might
Yeah.
not be what you think of when you hear alpha male. And I think that's where anybody that's listening to this and you hear us talking about the alpha male podcast and what is the alpha male, like, it doesn't have to be this guy at 72 years old, jacked out of his mind, right? It's the fact that here's a guy who's been married 47 years. He's
Yeah.
a father of 3 kids. He's been home. He's been a teacher. He's been a big roller in the community, still helping people grow. And I think that's what Charlie Kirk represented a lot of. You know, he was a father, God, young father too.
Terrible. Yeah.
Husband, man of faith, which, you know, to each your own if you're a man of faith or you're not, right? I don't But here he was like talking to youth, being a part of the community, encouraging like thought and conversation. And unfortunately, that life was taken way too early, and it shouldn't have been taken at all, nor should any life be taken for anybody that speaks change. And unfortunately, that's something that our society has done over and over and over again between, you know, we brought up MLK, we brought up JFK, there's a couple assassinations, and there's so many countless others that speaking your mind.
And what I liked was he would say, go ahead and give your view.
Right.
Yeah, he
And
let
then
people
he
talk.
would re-answer where nowadays so many people, if I go to say something, you talk over me because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Right.
And he never did that. I gave him a lot of respect.
I mean, there were some times he held his mouth, and I was like, wow. Because a lot of those people were disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know? So with this event that's coming up, obviously somebody created a Facebook post, and I was surprised at how many people like laughed or whatever and kind of joked about it and made some pretty disgusting comments on a community page, local community where people know your name and see this. And I'm like, you want people to associate you with that kind of like thought or that kind of opinion? And so it'll be interesting to see. But I think that's a type of person that's missing from this community in general of men, is like where being the husband, being the father, being home, being part of a life is more alpha than anything, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I also don't think it just goes, it's not just beneficial to young men, it's also beneficial to young women, because like growing up with him, you respected that I was a girl, but you didn't necessarily treat me like a fragile girl. You know what I mean? Like he
Right.
made sure I knew, like, I remember we had to get our deck replaced, and he's like, go out with the contractor and learn how to build a deck. And I'm like, Dad, I'm never going to have to do this in my life. You know what but he's like, I want you to be self-sufficient in case you want to do one. Then he's making me and my sister throw cinder blocks in the dumpster until we missed and it almost hit our face. Then he's like, oh my God, if you break your face, I'll never be able to marry you off. Like, we're done. You don't have to do this anymore. So that was how we got out of it. But like, you know, he taught me how to do so much stuff. And it was like to teach me how to be independent, but still respect a man and what his role is. And so I'll always be okay no matter what. So I'll never feel trapped like in a bad situation, but at the same time to respect something like that. So I think too, that's also what we're talking about, all the stuff that's missing with men, or like how they're kind of led astray nowadays. I think women are too, because they don't have that as well.
Well, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's lived with her mom for the majority of her life.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. And we're at the point now where she's, year and a half out from graduation of high school, and unfortunately, like, found out at the beginning of this year, like, she's not necessarily on track to do what she was expecting. Her mom's allowing her to homeschool 100%, and she's creating a lot of bad habits. Like, oh, I got up and did my classwork, but then I just slept for 4 more hours, and then I'm going to work, but and that's what happens when the father's not in the household, because there's certain aspects of staying at dad's house means like, no, I don't get to sleep all day. I have chores. I have things, responsibility. I can't necessarily do this, or I maybe not get this, or and that's missing. And unfortunately, at 16 years old, like, I would be like, sweet. I wouldn't be like, oh darn, I missed discipline and like all that stuff. You know what I mean? But how much do you think the absence? So obviously, social media plays a big part in all this. Would you guys all agree?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
How much do you think the absence of alpha male is actually because relationships with an alpha male don't necessarily go that well with the average woman today, because she doesn't want to follow his lead. She wants to do her own thing. Or maybe instead of him saying, hey, this is what we're going to do today, now she wants to argue with him about what it's doing today, because of the fact on social media, everything's telling the woman like, oh, don't just listen to your husband. Like, you need to,
What about the other
have a
things?
voice.
But I
Like,
think
other
you
things,
need.
like,
Oh, go ahead. I'm
Like,
sorry.
no. Social media is also talking about like men have to make so much money. They have
Yeah.
to. They have to be 6 foot. I literally I was on a few dates, and the first thing that came up on the topic was what do you do? How much money you make?
Isn't it like, you want to be
what?
like,
What's going on?
like, you're not so great either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like,
What's
be like,
going on?
where
Like, I
are
think
you
it automatically-
I'm like, I'm okay. I'm a salesman, and I make this much money a year. But then she's like, and I asked her, and she just goes off subject.
This
I'm like,
this triggers Evan. This happened
Oh,
on
all the time.
whatever date this
All the
happened
time.
on. I've heard this like 8 times.
Oh,
This
yeah.
literally has scarred this man
Unbelievable.
emotionally.
But it's-
Expectations of women.
I can't
And if
even
heard that-
imagine what that must be like dating.
Oh, it's
horrible.
crazy.
It's horrible. And then I have a friend. I have 2 friends getting divorces because their wives are bored of the relationship. I'm like,
They're what?
The bored of the relationship.
Oh,
Like literally, he works. He's a mechanic. Works like 55, 60 hours. He comes home. He's tired. And he just wants to sit at home and watch some TV before going to bed or watching the news and stuff like that. Well, she wants to go out and have a few drinks. He's like, I just worked like 12 to 14 hours a day. So you think I'm going to go out and drink and get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I've seen them argue constantly. I'm like, I'm walking out. I'm going home. Have you guys have fun.
Well, you know, I think one thing that I've noticed over the years, you have to be a team,
Yes.
100%.
or you're playing for the same team, and realize, like, dumb example, but an example. Last night, our Toby decided he had to go out and go to the bathroom. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I would have loved to just go.
yeah.
But I go, you know what? She did stuff all day long. I'm going to get up and go do it. And I know tomorrow, if for some ungodly reason Titan gets up in the middle of the night, she'll get up and do it.
Right.
Because it's, you help each other out. Where I think that's missing sometimes. It's always like, well, you're supposed to take care of me. Well, no, we're supposed to take care of each other.
True. It's a group effort. 100%.
What do you think? Like, we know that social media or all media is an impact. What do you think about as a retired educator? What do you think about the education system as an impact on? Oh, here we go. Okay, so I found out how to trigger Greg. So this is
yeah.
good.
You got triggered right now.
Yeah.
You know, I laugh because, just as an example, I would ask different questions. Like when I was teaching, are you for higher taxes, lower taxes? Are you for the government telling you what to do or not telling you what to do? Blah, blah, blah. Just going down the list.
Yeah.
And it's funny, once again, most of my kids were black. And they were very shocked to find out most of them are Republicans, conservatives. And I'm like, don't you understand how people try to get you pigeonholed and to believe in a certain way? Like, we're guys, we're supposed to do this, do that. It's like always called think for yourself. Where I think today's education tries to shove too much stuff down your throat. Like, and once again, if you don't want to go on this, let me know. But just like with this transgender, I have nothing against them. But when you turn 18 years old, if you want to do it, you're old enough to vote, drink, and get drafted. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But I know from teaching all these years, one day he hates Susie, the next day they're back buddies again.
Yeah.
Where we all know when we were in 5th grade, if the girl told us, ooh, I hate you, I want nothing to do with girls, man. I'm like,
Right.
where kids are so impressionable.
Kids are. Here's what I like in this whole topic too, especially with kids. And I'm not a parent, by the way, but I was once a child, and most days I act like a child.
You're done.
But I remember probably 4th or 5th grade was probably the first time I saw one of my friends come to class with a cast on their arm. And I'm sure you guys all had this experience, right? Like, and then, you know, back in those days, they were just the white plaster casts, right? And what would happen? Like, oh, you get to sign it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember having a crush on a girl, and she sat right next to me. And the day, whatever the fuck his name was, showed up with a cast on his arm, whatever the fuck her name was, no interest in anything having to do with me, and would just, you know, all sympathy for that cast.
Right.
And like, and here's everybody, and like, teacher stopped class. All right, let's all line up and sign his fucking cast, right? So that, you know, there was this whole thing. And then, you know, I look at the whole entire trans thing, especially in that age group, which it should never be discussed in that age group at all. That's an opinion, people. My email address is no.
Yeah.
But I kind of liken it similar to that in that you talk about impressionable and then you add the attention effect and then now you supercharge all of that with social media because that's really where most people's self-worth is going to come in from. It's the likes, it's the comments, the attention there. So kids at this age all the way up, and this is why there's so many that are struggling with the reversals. So, you know, if we want to get really nuclear topics, we can talk about the shooter in Minneapolis. This was a trans kid who decided, you know what, I'm just really fucked up. I don't want to do any of this. All right, I'm going to go kill a bunch of kids then, right? Like a complete mental mess here. But anyway, so real dangerous to even have any of this sort of discussion because of kids thrive on attention. They learn it from birth, right? I'm hungry. I'll have to just start screaming. Mom feeds me. And, you know, now I want this. I just have to start, you know, and, you know, most grow into adults and they stop the yelling and screaming, but there's a certain amount of the population that don't stop yelling and screaming. Now they're just saying, oh, well, this is really popular. You know, all these actors and actresses are saying that, oh, they've got trans kids and it's cool and I want to be cool. Well, maybe that's me. So, okay, I'm going to do that. You know, and here comes all my virtue flags and everything on social media and everything. I love children. Children are great. Never had any of my own. I'm definitely the parent that would have ended up in prison because, you know, I would have shown up and beaten the fuck out of the teachers that are trying to sexualize anybody under 18. Like, shouldn't be there.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well,
we feel the
But
same
you
way.
know,
Yeah.
and once again, I'm older than everybody here. In the old days, we would say that kid needs to go get help.
Right.
Now, like you said, he gets on, oh, wow, that's cool. A friend of ours, Danielle,
Oh, yeah.
she has somebody that's a cat
Oh, yeah. Like,
that she teaches.
yeah, it's not, I don't think it's called a furry, but I think that there's probably some term for, yeah, when you think you're a cat or whatever. And didn't they were like arguing for like special bathrooms, like for
Litter
like, the
box.
litter box? Yeah. That was like a real thing. And
Yeah.
And
it's
she's
a local,
school teacher.
yeah, and it's kind of around here. We'll leave the school system out of it, but it's gotten to be so nuts. And you are now having to, like, whatever it is that some thought that goes into a kid's brain, you have to be like, okay, you have to affirm it. Like, and then don't
Right.
even get me started on the term gender affirming care. That's not what that is.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just, it's so wacky when you think about it because it happens so quickly too. And they say, to back up, they say that it happens a majority with girls, teenage girls. And what happens a lot with teenage girls is social contagions. You see it with eating disorders. You see it with all kinds of different things in school. And it's weird that it's predominantly with the females as opposed to the men. And also another thing is you start seeing this, like they target them before puberty hits. So when they're in this like instability time, when, you know, you haven't really like fully became feminine, you're still kind of like, I don't want to say the kid's androgynous because that kind of feeds into this gender fluid, whatever, but
Right,
like without
right.
these hormones, like especially even with men.
It's like when you're 10 years old and your friend is playing in the dirt with you, even though she's a girl, before
Yes.
she realizes
Right, yeah.
that she needs to do her makeup and put a dress
Play
on.
with a Barbie
Yes.
or whatever. Like,
Right.
It's just before, like,
Yeah, it's like
you
being a
really
kid.
solidify anything.
It's like a
Yes.
kid. Yeah.
Yes, but there's still boys and there's still girls,
Right.
even at this time. I want to
Yes.
make that clear. And so they get them during this time. So of course they're kind of confused, you know, like this is going on. I don't know. And like your hormones are all over the place. So they're like, you're not feeling the greatest at this time, you know, like you're insecure or whatever. So of course they promise this is what's going to make you feel better.
Right.
And it's permanent. And what is so funny to me growing up with a bodybuilder dad, like in the 80s and the 90s, like you are not supposed, like the women, this is, okay, let me go back because I get furious. You can tell. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm
Love
ready to
it.
like,
You don't get furry. You just get
yeah,
furious.
I get furious.
furry bad, furious good. Okay.
Yes. They will tell you that there is no permanent damage done if you take male hormones as a female.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor and I call bullshit. Yeah, that's
Look at
permanent damage.
we already
yeah.
did the experiment. Look at 80 female bodybuilders from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I have been.
Well, look at
getting-
them even now, today's day and age,
they're
in like the
crazy.
professional class of bodybuilding, like for women, like they're changed forever.
Well, I've gotten my makeup done during national shows next to them, the bodybuilder women. Their hairline starts here. They have wigs. People don't realize that. And like they look like men that are dressed in drag and their voices really deep, you know, and like all this. And I'm like, how can people even say when you have this whole subgroup that has literally been taking male hormones and they're not taking enough of them to try to become the opposite gender. They're just taking enough to keep muscle mass on.
Right.
So imagine, so that's even just with like this much. They're trying to push this much and mutilate you.
Well, and I think
It's
that goes
crazy.
back to talk about the alpha male, having parents in the home and all that stuff. Because I've said it before, like if my son comes home and starts saying like, "Hey, Dad, you know, a girl didn't like me. I think I want to play Barbies and dress like a girl, and I want to be a girl." And I'm like, what? No, like,
Yeah.
you're a boy. Like, you don't play with Barbies. Like, that's just like dads used to be able to have that conversation with their kids and even with their daughters. Like, all right, it's time to stop playing with the boys. Like, you're gonna wear a dress to church this weekend, and like there was that mix where you could be a tomboy, but like you still knew you were a girl. And it was funny because the tomboys were like the best girls like to hang out with in like junior high, and then in like high school, all of a sudden they started wearing makeup and a dress to school all the time, and you're like, whoa, I used to play Tonka trucks in the playground with her, you know.
Matter of fact, with that, you made me think of a story. Her and her sister Lauren had dolls at home, obviously. Well, our son is the youngest of them. Well, when they brought the dolls out, they put them by Jamie, and all of a sudden he grabbed one, and I'm thinking,
Oh god.
he got his truck, ran over, and I looked at Michelle.
Rip the heads off the Barbie dolls, right?
Yeah.
But that's okay to encourage that conversation, and it's encouraged
Yeah.
like, because that's what a parent should do. Like, our job is not to like, oh, you're having a difficult time, let me just go with the fad and be like, oh, it's cool, maybe you are a chick, like maybe you're supposed to have a vagina and you don't, that's okay, we'll get you one, you know what I mean? Like, that used to like that would be frowned upon. Today it's expressed like that's the proper way to handle it. And it's like we have like thousands of years of men and women in this planet. Like we know like it's okay to be a guy, it's okay to be a girl, and like it's also ruining other communities. Like, I mean, not that I ever want to do butt sex with a dude, but like the gay community is now like,
Oh.
wait, what the hell? What do you mean? So like, why are you dressing like a chick if you like sucking dick?
It doesn't make sense.
Like, what the hell is going on? Like, why do you have to convert your sex in order to be okay with being with? And it's created so much confusion. And the fact that we're talking about it now and that it's even a fad on social media and all that is just
But
like
it's
too
became
much.
such a
Like,
big
it needs to
deal.
be like it needs to like just quietly go away. And it was almost doing that for a while until these shootings again recently have brought it to. And I think that is the overreaction to being kind of pushed aside as like, oh, they're not giving us enough attention anymore. We have to do something to start getting attention again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all these people, they don't have to do, in order to be noticed and get attention, they don't have to do anything worthy of attention. They just have to dress up in the opposite sex. That's all they have to do. Or claim that, you know, like don't get me wrong, I have a lot more respect for somebody who is as an adult that actually goes through the process of surgery. Because I'm like, okay, you're pretty serious.
right.
Like, you know what? That's fine. But these people that just claim it and then like, it's so weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's-
I just don't get it. And it's like, why can't you just be like who you are and not try to put, and also it's not like they're coming out with like a million different labels. Like, it doesn't even make any
Right.
sense.
Pronouns, different pronouns.
Or different pronouns and like what they are, and like they're attracted to this, like they're attracted to a tree but not a fern, but only spruce trees, and you're just like, enough, you know what I mean? Like, at some point you got to draw the line, you know, and like just say,
Spruce trees are pretty nice.
right. It's
Just saying.
crazy.
Why are we letting... I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, why are we letting people who are, I don't want to say nuts, but have some emotional problems dictate to the rest of us? Where they make us feel like
We're wrong.
Shit.
we can't say anything.
I'd say that, and I don't have any stats for this. I normally would, but there's a lot of them. That's the problem. Is that right around that Limp Bizkit era of everything kind of comes back to Limp Bizkit with me. I should have wore a red hat. Sorry. But, you know, right around that time was the invention of this thing called Prozac, which you want to talk
Yes.
about a fucking experiment gone wrong. But, you know, that was, you know, the tip of the iceberg compared to everything that they're trying today. Again, practicing medicine out there. And there's a lot of them. That's the answer to that question there is that a lot.
But there's also influencers Does everybody hear of Jeffree Stars, who does makeup and
Yes.
stuff? He's actually against all that stuff.
I was actually going to bring him up.
He's
That's so funny that
against it
you
100%. He's like,
You don't
there's
know who he
only
is, though.
Males and females.
I have no
Plain and
idea who
simple.
it is.
And he's a content creator that does makeup. He's a guy, but he's gay.
Yeah, like might have like wear like a pink wig,
Yeah,
does
very
makeup,
feminine.
nails out to here, but he's rational. And I was
Yes,
listening to him
very
and I'm
much
like,
so.
and I was like, this guy. Here's the thing. It's not that we're against his costume that he puts on. It's how it's all their values. Their all this stuff starts to get twisted with a majority of these people. Yeah. Something's off, and I guess that's. I could care less what Jeffree Star wants to do. He doesn't make me mad. He doesn't like infuriate me. But when I listen to someone who's nuts that is doing like looking like Jeffree Star, that's when I get upset because I'm like, something is wrong. Something is off, and this person needs help.
Yeah.
And this is how they're just expressing it outward. And I guess like that's the difference. It's not transgender that bothers me. It's when
You're pushing ideas onto
yes,
other
or
people.
I would argue that it's actually there's a subgroup of that because I believe that people are born in all different ways, shapes, and forms. But those subgroups are very relatively small. But now there's a subgroup of transgender that makes up a large group of them that they're just mentally insane and they're just latching on. For some reason, they decided to latch on to transgenderism and then act like that's who they are.
Yeah.
And I have some friends that are transgender, and they don't push their ideals onto me. I've known them when they were in high school and they were Steve,
Yeah.
and now they're someone else, and they look totally different. But they decided to transition at the age 8 over like she started doing it at 19, and she is right now 30, and you can't even tell that she was a he.
That's
Well,
great.
now
That's
wait a
crazy
minute.
that
How
surgery.
do you know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Have
what
you-
have you seen?
Have you
But-
checked under the hood, Evan?
I'm not checking over that. I'm good with that hood.
Yeah.
You seem pretty convinced. I think Evan's checked under the hood.
No. But it's just they're really rational.
Yes.
I have no problem calling a her
Mm-hmm.
because she dresses, she acts like a woman, and she
Yeah.
doesn't push her ideals on anybody. Ever. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, I can hang out with you, but once you like some of the other part in the community, they will push their beliefs, their pronouns. And I'm like, I can take it to a certain point.
Did she ask you how much you made?
Yeah.
No, thank God.
Hey guys, it is 5 till 7, and we have to unfortunately
gotta
cut
push
this
it.
one
Oh
short.
wow, that
But-
went
That was a
long.
quick one.
But I definitely want to do a part 2 with you guys.
Yeah,
I'd love
let's
to
do a
like
part
continue
2.
this conversation
Oh,
because I think this
yeah,
could
we'd
go
love
on.
We got to
to.
go
So
on their
maybe- yeah, I was
podcast.
gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah,
maybe
for
we'll come on your
sure,
guys'
for sure.
podcast and do a second part to this because there's a lot that we didn't touch on. I'm so glad you guys came.
Yeah, we had so much
Well, we
fun.
appreciate that. You guys do a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's the Alpha Male Podcast on
Yes.
Instagram. Are you guys on YouTube yet?
We are on YouTube. We're
Okay.
on Rumble.
How come you're not asking me?
Yeah. So don't ask. You'll get some crazy answer from him. If
I'm
you
asking
ask.
the technological assistant here.
I want to make him a shirt that has the info on it because I'm like, he'll never know how to
Just
say
get
it.
one, like a big QR code
Yeah,
on the top of
exactly.
it.
Scan me.
Yeah, no, definitely give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. We're at the Alpha Male Podcast _ on both of them.
Okay.
And like I said, YouTube, Rumble. Yeah, definitely check us out. And Apple and Spotify.
Awesome. Well, we will put all the links in the description.
There is
Awesome.
one important thing that I do want to touch on. And I'm going to talk right to the camera on this one. Guys, it is okay to play with Barbies. And let me tell you how you do this.
Should end it on this.
What you do is you get your Barbie and then get yourself a car. And then what you do is practice taking that Barbie over to the passenger side of the car and open the fucking door for your Barbie.
Wow.
Put the
I
Barbie
like that.
inside and you close the door and then that's it. And then you're done. And then maybe repeat if you need to do that.
Going to be paying attention to David when he leaves the house tonight.
Yeah. That is great advice.
See how much practice he's been doing. All right. Thanks again so much for you guys coming. We'll make
Yeah,
sure
thank you
that
guys
we
so
push it out
much.
there. And everybody have a great night.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Welcome to the night zone. Hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars every one. Fitness just a faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air, every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table coming